All right, so STEM Academy Freshmen, welcome to your class introduction meeting. I'm really glad that y'all could be here. I very much appreciate that you are willing to dedicate the time here to make sure that you know what's going on. I'm going to start by, again, running through here our class project details, and these fit every class for this year. And then I'm going to get specifically into the freshman class project. So if there are any questions, I'm going to say please hold them till the end, or if you're concerned about forgetting what those questions might be, you can feel free to drop them in the chat, and then I will address them at the end. I do think that there's a good chance that I will answer any of the questions you might have as I go through this material. So I'm going to say to hold on to them, but if you do feel like you want to drop it in the chat just to make sure it gets asked, I'm totally fine with that too. So welcome, welcome. We're really excited to have y'all here. Thank you for bearing with us through this crazy year. And I just want to kind of dive into here what we've got going on. So you should have already, not should have, you've received this document already. These are the details for the entire class project and how we're going to handle this in the remote learning environment that we're in. I'm going to drop this into the chat real quick in case you don't have this readily accessible or it was in an email or anything like that. And this document that we're looking at right now really is it's the home base for everything you'll need to complete this from beginning to end, okay? So this will get you everything you need to know. So we got a quick intro here, and I made a note to make copies of all documents that you're using, but most of the links that are in here actually force copy the document anyway. So as soon as you click on the link, it'll pop up and it'll make you save it somewhere in your Google Drive. And I'm gonna go through where y'all actually already have folders for your Google Drive right now. So you'll be able to save it right into a folder that's already shared with your group and shared with your STEM teacher mentor. And so it should be really easy to organize all this stuff and make it so that we can find your end products and so that you can properly communicate, all right? So the first thing to look at here is this master spreadsheet. This shows your groups, where you're located, like where your folders are, all your links, who your STEM teacher mentor is, all that good stuff. And I've already made an explanatory video that went out and kind of shows how to use this. So that is there if you need it in the future. And this is meant to be more about the freshman project and more interactive with questions. So I'm not going to watch that or anything right now, but realize that that's there, please. And that link takes you right over to this. This is the freshman tab where you've got all of your groups, your group members right here, okay? You have the folder for your STEM teacher mentor over here. So this will take you to their specific folder where there's information on them and how to contact them and schedule meetings with them. And again, that's explained in the other video as well. Here is your folder for your group. So this goes specifically to a folder just for the people in the groups, for each of these different groups. And it is already shared with you so that you can edit it and save things to it and all that good stuff, all right? And over here is the country that you've been assigned for this project. And this will make much more sense once we actually get into the projects, okay? And that's what you can find there. Then there's sophomore, junior tabs at the bottom, but as freshmen, y'all don't need to worry about that at all, okay? So I'm gonna jump back over here to our main document. And this again goes through how to use this, where everything is located. Starting up your student contact info document, y'all should have one of these in your folders at this point. If you don't, be that person to start it. Reach out to your group members and get the conversation going here so that you can get started with your projects, okay? So please realize that that's there. Awesome. Whoever just dropped that link back in, thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm trying to watch on both, so I appreciate whoever helped me out there. But yeah, so this will get you started with the contact and the conversation. If you're having trouble like finding maybe one of the members of your group, a great way to start that conversation is either to email them, and you can go right into your WCPSS email server and just type their name in, and their name will pop up and you can send them an email right to their WCPSS email. And if that's not working, I mean, I know we've got Mr. Rahor in this meeting right now. You can reach out to him and he can help you out with that too. You can reach out to me and I can help you with that too. We will make sure we help you as much as possible with the communication because I do realize that that's going to be tough this year, okay? So that kind of gets us going, shows you where all that information is. There is a project intro also, and it relates to y'all's freshman level project much more than the sophomore and junior project. So it's really meant for you. But there's this game that we've set up for y'all to play. And actually, it was created by the EPA. It's called Generate. It's the game of electricity. And you kind of design... You didn't get your pen. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm sorry if you didn't get the one that you were looking for there. But it's set up so that you create an energy portfolio given some resources, which really is what your overall project is too, just a little more in depth. So the first time y'all meet, you'll end up playing this game as a group. And so check that out, see what's all there, and you'll be able to meet in Google Meets that are with your teacher. Okay, so just to show you this real quick, and then I'll get into y'all's specific project. Since we have Mr. Rahor, we'll look at his folder real quick. So we open up Mr. Rahor's folder right here. And again, these groups can get into these folders if it's their assigned group to edit those, but only them. Anybody else, though, who has Mr. Rahor as their teacher mentor can find his slide. And on that, there is a Google Meet. Okay, this Google Meet is open for y'all to work in from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. every single day. Okay, so if you need to schedule a meeting with Mr. Rahor, let him know and he can be there to help you. But this is kind of your workspace for this project so that you have this place where you can commonly come and meet and at least talk and do all that kind of stuff. Okay, so everybody has one of those set up. You can use that link from your mentor teacher's Google Meet to start a conversation, to meet for the first time, to play this game if you need to. And if y'all have other ways that you want to set this up, that's fine. If FaceTime or a group chat or whatever works best for y'all, like we realize that you are technologically savvy and capable of this stuff for communication. There's really no excuse for not being able to communicate, especially with your mentor teacher's Google Meet listed on there. So we do expect y'all to be able to do that as STEM Academy, young people who are technologically savvy, okay? So you got some major dates right here also. It's by the 2nd that we want you to have that project intro done. So that gives you, tomorrow and through the weekend. And if it happens on the actual 2nd, which is Tuesday of next week, like if it's one day late for stuff like that, that's fine. But aim for these dates as best as you can to be your guiding dates for the deadlines of everything going on here. So 3-2 would really be your project intro right there. And then from today onwards, so starting tomorrow is your project work time. And I'm going to get into the specifics of your project in just a moment. But we want to have items fully completed by the 18th of May, right? And this is because we need to compile them. I'm going to create a website that has all of your projects posted on them. And then our symposium, our presentation event, won't actually involve y'all standing in a location to present your material like it has in the past. Instead, we're going to do it all digitally, and a lot more info on this will come as these dates get closer. But as you go, save everything that you do for this project in your Google Drive folders. Because I created all those, I have access to all of those. And if you save all of your materials in there, then when it comes time to have everything done on the 18th here, I'll be able to find it very easily, open up that folder, see what you put together, no problem. Okay, and it'll make it so that everybody can communicate really well. All right. So I'm going to pause real quick right now and see if there's any questions before I get into the specific freshman class project and let y'all know exactly what your specific project involves. Awesome. I've explained it all perfectly so far, huh? Either that or you already know what's going on, so that's great. All right, so to jump over to the freshman class project here, you are looking at energy portfolios of the world. So for this project, as you know, we have energy and sustainability as the two themes of our STEM Academy. This is going to cover largely a shift from conventional fuel methods for generating electricity to greener methods of generating electricity. And so this is going to cover both energy and sustainability aspects of what we do. As you move through the academy, we'll cover some different types of projects, some different ways of looking at these different ideals. But this is really the best way to get you started because it's looking at a big scale and green energy as you know it already and should really get you started on a lot of this stuff. All right. So first one right here, there is an explanatory video for this whole document where I kind of go through it. It's about 3 minutes to explain all the different parts and where everything's located. So if you ever need the reminder, you can always check that out. These two right here, links do take you to, so the second one right here is about 11-minute video on YouTube about the engineering challenges of renewable energy. It's from Crash Course. If you've ever seen Crash Course videos, they're very, very, very good and very explanatory. So you can check that out to get you started. The first one right here is from National Geographic. Is only about 3 minutes. I'm actually going to play this one real quick to kind of set the stage, and then we'll talk about the rest of the project in just a moment.
Around the world, renewable energy use is on the rise. And these alternative energy sources could hold the key to combating climate change. What is renewable energy? Renewable energy is generated from sources that naturally replenish themselves and never run out. The most common sources are solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, and biomass. Over 80% of the total energy consumed by humans is derived from fossil fuels. However, Renewables are the fastest growing source of energy in the world. Renewable energy has many benefits. First, it can combat climate change because it creates no direct greenhouse gas emissions. The only emissions that they produce are indirect, meaning those that result from manufacturing parts, installation, operation, and maintenance. But even those are minimal. Second, renewable energy can decrease pollution and therefore reduce threats to our health. Wind, solar, and hydroelectric systems create no air pollution emissions, and geothermal and biomass energy systems emissions are much lower than non-renewable energy sources. Third, renewable energy is a reliable source of power. Because renewable energy sources are, well, renewable, they will never run out. Once built, renewable facilities cost very little to operate, and the fuel is often free. As a result, renewable energy prices tend to be stable over time. While renewable energy has many advantages, it is not without downsides. It is difficult for renewable energy sources to generate power on the same large scale as fossil fuels. Building wind farms and dams can disrupt wildlife and migration patterns and lead to ecological destruction. Both solar and wind energy are intermittent. They only generate power while the sun is shining or while the wind is blowing. Batteries can store excess energy for later use. However, they are often costly. While renewable energy presents some challenges, it also offers an environmentally friendly alternative to the greenhouse gas emissions and pollution of fossil fuels. And as advances in technology make renewable energy more accessible, affordable, and efficient, an end to climate change could be within our reach.
So a very large overview of a lot of these technologies as a whole. And the key here is that they can be very helpful to countries in many, many different ways, as you just saw. All right. And hopefully you've seen, if you've had the chance to be here, I know you've been through the whole pandemic and maybe not everybody's coming to school. If you walk up that media center entrance, we've got a big solar panel out in front of our school that's very new and was just featured on WRAL and a story. And so it's something that we're trying to do in practice, not just in education here in the STEM Academy. OK, and hopefully one day y'all will get a chance to design or contribute to a project like that on your own, which would be great. So I want to present you with right here first our central document that's going to govern everything else that happens in this project. Okay, so you have your country, you are one of these nations, to all nations. In an attempt to address recent concerns put forth by the World Energy Council regarding the National Academy of Engineers Grand Engineering Challenges, a mandate is being set forth regarding energy generation in relation to country development and future planning. This mandate is outlined as follows. All nations are to address the future energy needs of their populations in regards to changes in their population and changes in the needs of the people. A plan to move from current energy portfolios to a more sustainable method of energy generation must be presented. And this plan is what y'all will present. This should be addressed from the aspect of developing a 20-year projection for significant development of solutions to this challenge. All projections should be based on the current state of the country's energy systems and a stated end goal. Any resources that a country has should be brought into play when considering these projections. This is currently the UN's highest priority and should be treated as such by all individual countries. Shane Berry, Director of Nation Development, United States Security Council. Don't tell anybody, but I'm not actually that. But we made that up here to be what it is we want to focus on for this project. Okay? So again, you are, in general terms, going to look at the current energy portfolio, which is to say the current methods of generating electricity in your country and propose ways that you can make it more sustainable, better for the environment, introduce more green energy methods based on your country's resources. Okay? If you're a country that's cloudy 80% of the year, solar energy is probably not for you. Okay? And so you need to think about how it fits your specific country as you do this as well. All right. So to get into a little bit more here, I explained why there are academy connections here, but I've kind of talked about that as we've gone through this also, energy and sustainability and renewable energy sources, and that's why this connects so clearly to our STEM Academy. I do want to make sure y'all see the purpose of doing this stuff so you don't think we're just throwing a random project at you. You've come into this academy knowing that you have an interest in engineering and energy and sustainability, and that's why we designed these things this way, okay? There are a number of different portions to this. The first being a research paper. Where theoretically you've done some research on what an energy portfolio is and what is included in the U.S. energy portfolio and so forth and so on. Now I realize that some of you might be in English 1 right now. It's been a very different year as far as scheduling, but regardless, there should be some research that has either been done or is being done through your English 1 class that will help you prepare for this project. Now, the next thing is research and analysis. So beyond doing kind of the general research on what an energy portfolio is and so forth and so on, you're going to need to do that for your country. So the next step here is going to be doing some research on what the current energy portfolio for your country is. I highly suggest you make a Google Doc and share it in your folder to help you all gather materials and see what's going on, right? So maybe each of you in a meeting divvy up different pieces of this to look at or different sources through which to look through and so forth and so on, and then determine how you want to find all your data based on that. The next part here is your energy portfolio proposal. And so this is you proposing, this is what we think would be best for our country that responds to the mandate that's been put out and still fits the resources of the country that we have, okay? So that's what we're gonna be looking for this next part right here. And I give you some details on what that is in that link right there. This is an energy portfolio proposal. And I go through here and I mean, I'll let you look at this when you get to this point, but there's a lot of stuff in here that explains exactly what it is you're looking for. Because I realize a lot of you haven't done anything like this before. And so this document will be very helpful when you get to this point right here. And determining what exactly should go into this, okay? The next one here is your proposal presentation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a scientific poster. And if you've been to maybe like Centennial Campus at NC State or anywhere like that where they do a lot of higher level learning, there's a lot of graduate students, you've seen a lot of scientific posters hanging around in those areas because that's the common way of presenting this. We want to prepare you for that also. So with the thought that you might go into a science-heavy engineering type degree one day, we want to make sure that you have the tools to create a scientific poster because that's something you'll have to do. There's a video right here that explains what they are. She's actually very entertaining. What they are, why they're important. She's a lab researcher. You can see her lab in the background. So if you're curious a little bit more about why scientific posters are important, what they should include, that's right there, okay? And so the final piece there, you'll take your energy portfolio proposal and all the info that you put into this and everything else and put it onto a scientific poster. At the end here, I'll show you where I give you numerous different templates to use for your scientific poster, so you don't have to create that from scratch or anything like that, okay? Now, part of this needs to be the engineering design process. And this is something you probably haven't been overly exposed to at this point, but there are 5 steps here, and it's really the engineering version of the scientific method. This is how you'll go about solving problems in the STEM Academy from now until you're out of the STEM Academy. And I can tell you right now, I teach the STEM capstone class. It's the last class that students take as part of the STEM Academy. It's their big final project class, y'all's big final project class. And we use the EDP a ton in there. So this is something that'll be prevalent from now until you're out of the STEM Academy. It looks more specifically like this, where there are 5 steps and we have a cyclical plan. Okay, where we start by asking a question, we imagine a solution, we plan to create that solution, we do create that solution, and then we look to see if we can improve it. And you notice this keeps going around and around because projects never really end, right? You can always make something better, more efficient. You might be attacking something that already exists, like the energy portfolio of a country. Okay, so ways specific to your project that you could include all these steps. And I put questions on here that are specific to the project that you'll be working with. We will pair you up with seniors to help you out here. Now, that's not quite ready to go yet. We'll get you that information very soon here. But the STEM Capstone seniors that are in that capstone class, we pair them with y'all to help you through this project if you need it at any point. So more information on that will be coming. I crossed all this out because we're not printing out posters. We're not doing that. I'm going to get you information on Symposium as it gets closer. But to try to tell you this whole big intricate way that we're going to handle that right now is more in depth than I think y'all need at this point. Okay, so more information will be coming on this soon. Now, I also provide you with quite a few resources here. These are all great spots to start doing your research for that step, that very first step. All right, so you got the World Energy Council, the UN Security Council, NAE, the National Academy of Engineers, Grand Engineering Challenges, so forth and so on, right? Like a lot of different pieces of information here that could be very, very helpful in your research. We've been through the groups and the assigned mentors. That's something you already saw. That was that main document. Again, right here, you have poster templates. So these are different scientific posters. You can just make a copy of these right here, and whichever one you feel might best fit your presentation, you can use that. It's already got the logos and everything on it. You just need to fill in your information from there. There's also a rubric right here so that you know exactly what we'll be looking for in your end product. And that's really the end of all these materials that are coming up here. Now, I see a couple questions, and I'm going to make sure to get those answered, but that's the bulk of what I wanted to make sure to share with y'all. Okay, so going forward, things that I suggest you do soon is watch this video, like maybe as soon as you get off this call, watch this next video, make sure you have an understanding of what the problem is and why it needs to be addressed. From there, remember, go back over to this very first document that we looked at and make sure that your group has the communication devices set up that it needs, that you check out that folder, that you reach out to your group members, and that y'all have started those lines of communication. Okay, and I'll start answering some of these other questions I'm seeing.
Hey, Mr. Barry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly, guys, the hardest part of this project is just getting started. Once you get started and get the ball rolling, and Mr. Barry will agree with this, is your communication within your group. So once you get that established, everything else will be a lot easier, okay? Just remember, communicate with one another and your mentor or even your senior advisors or Mr. Barry, okay? So if you're having issues or anything like that, make sure you talk to your advisor, okay, or your mentor teacher. And then, you know, I just want to say this. You guys got into this STEM program for a reason too, all right? It requires collaboration, okay? And Mr. Barry, who has been in the field, and no matter what profession you go into, you're going to have to talk to other people and collaborate, okay? And that, you know, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. This will help you guys find out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and that's part of the reason that you are able to collaborate with one another is to say, hey, I'm good at this. Why don't I conquer this part of the project or what have you? So, you know, that's just my advice for you guys, you know, helping out students the last, you know, 6-7 years or whatever we've been doing this now, Mr. Barry. It's, you know, these are some of the issues that we run into, okay? It's not so much the project, like once the kids get going on the project, they're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's getting started. So these next couple weeks are really key for you guys and to get a hold of your group members and to initiate that communication with one another.
Mr. Rahor, you're totally right. I 1000% agree with what you're saying. Yep, and the thing they don't tell you. So for those of you who may not know, I have an engineering degree from NC State, and that's what Mr. Rahor was referring to. I have been in the field. I have done this stuff. I worked as a field engineer at the Pentagon. So these are things that I have been a part of. And I will tell you what they don't say for my job and for every other job is that you have to be able to communicate and you have to be able to collaborate with people. I know a lot of students like to work alone. There is no job that exists that involves you working completely alone. If you set yourself up in a way that you think those are the skills that you need, you're wrong. You are. Okay, you will need to communicate and collaborate with people. And a big piece of the skills that you gather from a STEM education in our STEM Academy is that you are working with other people. Yup, sometimes your group members are going to drive you nuts. Yup, sometimes there's going to be some bumps in the road. Dealing with that is life, and it's a very important skill to learn. So 100% agree with what Mr. Rahor said, definitely. I saw the comment there, the question, if we've already done the English thing, I like the English thing, that's nice. But should we start on step 2? Yeah, then basically you'll start researching for your country, that's correct. So that's really the next big step beyond, again, these introductory type items, right? So make sure this other stuff is set up and you've got your documents in there, and that you're getting your class intro done and a meeting scheduled and all that also. But individually, if you were like, yep, I'm excited about this, let's get going, start Googling your country for sure. And I would use some of those resources that I showed you from the bottom of this to start looking some of this information up, because I didn't put these on here for no reason. These are probably the best spot for you to start doing your research. So, Mr. Rahor, anything else you could think of that we should let them know, or do you feel like we've hit pretty much everything?
No, just if you guys are having issues or problems, like I said, just reach out to your advisor or your mentor teachers or Mr. Barry, and we'll do our best to help you guys with the issues or the problems. Now, we might not be the the be all of it, but hopefully we'll be able to guide you guys in the right direction.
Fantastic. All right, y'all, thank you for being here. I'm going to stop the recording right now.